Okay, I had a hell of a lot of shit to do, and I'm literally a day behind on the uploads because of the excitement of the Spurs from last night. And I'm literally, running behind on what is, today the season six premiere, Fun in the Sun, aka the sixth season of summer production here on my social media, as far as, my audience and following goes, which is Giganda as a social media influencer and content creator. So, since we literally waited until past 6 o'clock in the evening, we're gonna get this a season six premiere of Fun in the Sun in prime time. I mean, 2 years ago we did the season four premiere on the go to start the Sandy Ridge redemption to avenge, the atrocity from the year before, and then in the summertime, and now for even though that was just the start of a whole ass goated season of its own. That was the difference between today, where it's like a special edition. We're doing like a seasonal production premiere episode in prime time. So we may be better off this way. So we're way pressed for time. So let's get the fuck going, and I'll meet you out there in the happy place in Northeast Ohio we call Sandy Ridge, and we will be fucking celebrating all goddamn night until it's time to park the bus at the end of the night to come back inside the trailer. Let's go. All right, season six of Fun in the Sun in prime time is reminiscent of the season four premiere on the go at Cedar Point, which was a totally different scenario at the time, like I said in the intro. The Sandy Ridge Redemption, which was like a redemption tour to avenge the summer atrocity from the year before. This is just a one-time thing. We're probably more than likely, never say never, but we're more than likely probably never going to get, I wouldn't say never, more than likely ain't going to get like a prime time premiere episode again, or primetime episode in general. Look out.
What's up?
Hey, a primetime episode in general again. I mean, we've had those before, but it's not all the time, so there won't. Don't be telling Amanda that shit. If you know, you know. Yeah, shake that up with Amanda first before you do any of that. Fucking Raikkonen, what a fucking idiot!
Fucking Raikkonen, what a fucking idiot!
Yeah, Montoya reference, talking about Kimi Raikkonen when he was in Formula One before he went to NASCAR, and I began liking him right as Kyle Petty was leaving. But anyway, yeah. I think this is we're going to get plenty more primetime episodes of these, seasonal productions of summer, fall, obviously not winter, obviously. Winter production episodes are mostly indoors. It could happen any time of the day. But as far as out here in Sandy Ridge goes, it's always going to be summer, spring, and fall, because it's still warm parts of fall where we're going from warm weather to cold weather. Well, we're officially smooth sailing and free game way earlier than expected. We're way ahead of schedule when it comes to that stuff. So yeah, but don't expect another primetime, premiere episode of, summer production anytime soon, because this just happened to be pure unintentional luck, by all means. I mean, we're probably not going to get a fall one. I don't remember if we had a fall primetime premiere episode. I know we never had a spring primetime premiere episode. I know we did like the Sandy Ridge finale, the first ever one, like the first ever big one that was on YouTube in 2021. Like under the lights. It was under the lights because that was back daylight saving time. I think we were falling back. And so when it was getting darker early and the winter was coming, yeah, that was under the lights. So yeah, we've had a fair share of primetime episodes, but not always, from start to finish in terms of the video length. We have it become primetime, towards, not till later in the video, because we usually start the video at the beginning of the day, aka episode, but yeah, we're off to an eventful start. Will we get our first 6 act of season 6 of Fun in the Sun done today? We will see, because every year, as far as I remember, not counting 2021, because that was some fluky ass shit we got there in March and April of that year. So 2023, as atrocious as that season was, considering day one was actually probably one of the best parts. Probably the biggest flashes of brilliance. There were a lot of flashes of brilliance of that year, but probably one of the biggest ones, if not the biggest one. 2024 was the one I see to point on the go, with Brianna Nikoloff and Sophia Graham. Last year, okay, we had 22, 23, 24. We ended a 3-year streak, so year 4, there was none. So can we do our 4th summer premiere TikTok in 5 years? Well, let's all find out together as an audience. Oh, and I just got through leaving a voice message for my best friend and SSA, Kelly Christine Sinceri, for her Kevin Willis, NBA champion Kevin Willis, 42nd birthday. For the Spurs, you have to talk about NASCAR, Jamie McMurray, and rest in peace, Kenny Irwin Jr. So, and Giselle Torres, aka Jem from Villains of Valley View on Disney Channel, celebrates her Devin Vassell, or NASCAR, both for the Spurs, but in Spurs and NASCAR, Jeff Gordon, 24th birthday. So I hope you had a great one. Well, I hope that both of y'all are having a great one today, as the Wembanyama and the Spurs tore that shit up like Terry Labonte last night to make the finals. Again, for the first time in 12 years since the Sandhurst House in Brook Park when I was 20 years old. Go Spurs, go Wembanyama, swipe on the fox. I know not much has happened today. As during this video, yeah, it's going to be probably the shortest, summer premiere in production history, let alone shortest premiere in general in production history. We have so much shit to catch up on. Could you really blame me? Because I didn't get to bed till 7 o'clock this morning because I was all night, all yee-hawing because of the Spurs. I've waited 12 years to feel that moment, But now that the final schedule is out, it would have worked out for my dad and I either way. Because even if we decided to go back to MIS this year for our first time back, since the last tour in 2023 during my year off from NASCAR, except for 2 races, that said race and the Gatorade Twin 125. Either way, at least unlike 2014, in case we were to wrap it up in 5 games, which anything could happen, but in case in 2014 we wrap it up in 5 games, at least it wouldn't have to be on, MIS Sunday this time. So even if we would have went to the race, even if we were going, we wouldn't have to worry about not being able to scream our lungs out in the hotel like in 2014, because then we would have got thrown. I would have got my dad and I thrown out of there. That's why I was trying to be as extra quiet as I could. I was screaming like quietly. I was screaming quietly, but I couldn't do it break the sound barrier compared to if this had happened at home on Sandhurst. Because not only would I got my dad and 20-year-old me thrown out of there, we also probably would have got a permanent ban from that hotel. Not like we ever went back to that hotel for another MIS trip after that anyway, 2015 and beyond. But the worst of all, so it wouldn't be the worst, but at best, probably the biggest punishment at best, which would be really, really light if you think about it, we would have just gotten a noise complaint. That was it. But this time, it's not an MIS Sunday, so even if we were going to the race or not, if we were going to the race, that would mean we would have been able to relax, since there's no game on during the day of the Michigan race. So we would be able to relax. We would have been able to relax this year on the trip and fully focus on NASCAR. But the truth is, we decided not to go this year again, even though I kind of did want to. But don't forget, my dad had already booked that Europe trip, which he would have came back, 2 days after said race, next week. He would have came back then. because the Michigan race, the Sirius Satellite Radio 400 is June 7th. He would have came back on June 9th. But that's why we weren't able to go like I wanted to. I mean, he was really on board with the idea, but at the same time, him booking the Europe trip beat me to suggesting him and I going back there this year. But then he canceled the trip right when it's how it was getting close to it. It was too much money, that's why. That's it, he said. Kind of like that Florida vacation during the later stages of the vaccine year that with the Oliveras that we were going to YouTube. That was probably going to be one of our biggest YouTube videos of the vaccine year, which was our grand return to YouTube. Because of how our TikTok career peaked around that time. I originally turned that down, but then remember that scene in The Big Leap on Fox? I did a recap video of said episode when I used to do my shows, and around the time I started doing recap videos of every episode and reacting to it and stuff. There was a scene where one of the characters and his dad, I think I'm friends with one or both of the actors on Facebook or whatever social media that I became friends with, any of the cast from that show. There was a scene that was exactly mirrored what the situation I was in. Literally, it was a powerful scene where I can remember it the best I can because it was 5 years ago, so I don't really remember it that well. But I do remember that was my inspiration to change my mind and tell him, my dad, yes. Because a father was trying to motivate his son, basically, into doing something he didn't want to do because he didn't want him missing out on potential fun if he had just let him turn it down smoothly. So when the son got convinced and said yes and got motivated, that's what. Sometimes these shows, used to give me life lessons, and then I would utilize them in real life with my family and sometimes my friends, like first chance I get after I watch said episode of said show. So that's when I decided, Dad, well, I'll go on that Florida vacation with you. I remember the Legends of the Hidden Temple reboot on the CW was such a huge deal. Like not only we were friending the adult contestants that we had never met before, on the current version, but we were friending contestants that were kids on the former show, on the OG show, that are now adults. Some even who are like legends and icons of the OG got to come back. And there were some, auditioning to come back as adults after being on there as kids in the OG version in case it got season 2 and beyond. And sadly, I remember all that hype was around it. And most of these people from the Hidden Temple, still live in Florida where all that stuff was, filmed. Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando. So we were going to do a Legends of the Hidden Temple meetup down there. Whatever, former child contestant, now adult human being, was living in Florida still. We were going to meet up down there and do our big Legends of the Hidden Temple meetup. I mean, we got together, basically virtually was planning it. We were all excited, all this other stuff. And then I had to tell him the bad news because my dad apparently told me his bad news. So it was like a domino effect. Clearly, my dad eventually had to cancel the trip because much like with the Europe one this year, it was too much money. It cost too much money. He didn't want to waste a shit ton of money where he could have used for more important things. So that was unfortunate, and unfortunately, for him, he had to cancel the Europe trip, which is unfortunate for me because when he first told me, if he would have tried to buy the MIS tickets to try to see if he can get our seats back, the seats that we used to be in every year, basically, I don't know when we started these seats, but it was always every year. We'd get to go, sit in the front row, literally on the front straightaway, in the second whole last section where there was no seats in front of us. We could just go climb through the bar, in and out of our seats, and just without having to worry about pushing people out of the way and climbing through or over other people. I think somebody else already took that, took that from us. Another fan probably decided to take advantage of it because we gave up those seats because we gave up those tickets. We gave up the tradition, obviously. So I don't know if we'd be able to get them back because thing is, even if we were to buy them, I don't think it would be in the same seats like we were used to up till 2023, that year from NASCAR, except for 2 races, that said race, and of course, the Gatorade 2125 at Daytona, when I had my Kevin Harvick 29th birthday, be a Todd Bodine 66-degree birthday in the happiest place in Northeast Ohio, which felt like it was spring on my birthday, if we're being honest, but that's neither here or there. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and okay. So even if he like, I did pitch him the idea to. I said no. Okay. Even if he would have been brave enough to try to buy the tickets, right? As he told me he canceled the trips. Like, okay, we'll go to MIS considering I canceled my Europe trip, and I would have came back, 2 days after the race. It would have been way too late. It would have been such notice, so there wouldn't have been time to buy them, finalize it, and get to go. So that was really impossible. So maybe for 2027, for season 7 Fun in the Sun, as long as there's still a June race, I guess we'll try it again to go back. But speaking of NASCAR, in terms of where they're racing tonight, my dad wants to go to Nashville for a race. I'd be down for it because, one, we get to see another real night race, not that fake, quote-unquote, Daytona 500 night race, Montoya on the jet dryer. Even though that was fun, basically based on the events that was going on in my life at the time, with my birthday, the victorious year, all this other stuff, my time as a junior at Berea High, my time, basically the in-house celebrity I was, where compared to Ridgeville, I'm just a local celebrity. If you ask me, or ask my current peers here for the last 11 years, I did enjoy that nonetheless. But we would get to see a legit night race that starts and ends at night. But the most important thing, we'd have a chance to meet another show person who's currently down in Nashville from our first Living La Vida Lab Rats person, not Giselle Torres. I'm thinking of Giselle Torres, who played Jem on Villains of Valley View, who not only celebrates her birthday today, but it's Villains of Valley View is also created by the same two dudes who made La Vida Lab Rats, Chris Peterson and Brian Moore. Yeah, so remember Giselle Vickers, from The Vanishing? That was what we first saw. I know she appeared before that in, was it the episode where she almost killed Chase, and literally, tried to use Troy, Leo Howard, basically as an experiment, but that didn't work. And then literally she found Marcus's hand in that junkyard as literally a long overdue continuation from the events of, wasn't it Bionic Showdown where Douglas made his first appearance? Yeah, when he was the bad guy first, but then eventually turned good in the end. Yeah, literally, I love how La Vida Lab Rats was really realistic with the storytelling in terms of, referencing past episodes like you're really telling a real story in the real world. Literally, that was basically a continuation from when they defeated Marcus in season 2. I'm guessing the government picked up those, those bits and pieces of debris and boulders and stuff, put them in the junkyard, and Marcus's hand happened to be in there. And the government didn't see it, so they just left it unattended because they didn't know it was there. Otherwise, they would have done something with it. But if they would have done something with it, because knowing that it would have been it was a hand belonging to a threat that was made out of an android, then we would have gotten that exciting, series finale of the OG series in the whole ass franchise of La Vida Lab Rats, with Marcus coming back and everything. So yeah, that's basically, Marcus came back because Giselle Vickers, aka Jessalyn Wanlin, decided to give him one more chance. Considering, when he first showed up, we didn't know Vickers yet. So yeah, Jessalyn Wanlin, who plays Giselle Vickers, who basically, I was such a huge Jessalyn Wanlin fan that in my fanfics, I made Giselle Vickers hate me more than she ever hated Brie or even Adam chasing them. So that was the creativity I had using my imagination at even age what button 22.
Damn lap car up there amongst the top 10. I wish I had something I could shot through the window. That's the 11th time this year I've gotten the hell knocked out of me. It just gets frustrating after a while.
Not to mention, the Mark-related insults. It was not really just personal attacks regarding me as a person, a human being. It was also about me when it came to the stuff I'm known for, the Spurs, NASCAR, mostly the Dillon brothers, because I don't think Nemechek and Gregson and the other homeboys count because I wasn't really rooting for them yet. That didn't come till the next year and beyond. So, yeah. Hell, Ricky Martin was thrown in there. I mean, I'm surprised that, they never came up with the in-market insults regarding Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, especially Alex Trebek. Well, we could have, but we kind of thought better because we didn't want to disrespect the legendary careers and legacies of basically Alex Trebek, or Pat Sajak, Vanna White, Johnny Gilbert, and the late great Charlie O'Donnell. And even then, we really had basically abandoned Jeopardy and Wheel around that time. That wasn't really our main focus anymore. So that's why, that's why, we didn't really have it play a major role in La Vida Labras like NASCAR, the Spurs, and Ricky did. Yeah, so literally, some of those Mark insults really, I think when it came to those three main things that I'm more known for than Wheel and Jeopardy. I know Marcus, called me the Silver Spoon fan, referring to the fact that, I'm an Austin Dillon and Ty Dillon fan, and that's what usually the haters of the Dillon brothers call them, more Austin than Ty. And I feel like more people say more people hate Ty less than they do Austin. I can respect that because, at least Austin is six times, even by luck, has shown he's quite capable of winning Winston Cup races when given the right equipment at RCR in that number 3 car. Ty hasn't even sniffed his first Cup win since moving up full-time as a rookie in 2017. But anyway, yeah. I know Crane came up with the one Ricky Martin insult that Crane came up with. This was probably the lamest one. This was really unoriginal and very non-creative. He just called me a Ricky Martin bum, but I feel like Stephanie's aka Anna Gregory's was spicier. And that La Vida Labrad's episode he did for Anna Gregory's birthday, when Stephanie, her character, went from hurting Bree to hurting me, knowing that I was Bree's boyfriend in this series, to the point where she knew I liked Ricky Martin. So therefore, remember at the beginning of Berea High, remember Miss Michael and her pranks and her overly aggressive humor and jokes out of fun. At least he was actually being funny, and actually was messing around. And oh crap, look out. The insult I'm about to tell you that Stephanie, aka Gregory, said not to me, because she already put me into a tearful meltdown, talking about how Tim Duncan's retirement was the greatest thing to happen in NBA history, Spurs history, and all of mankind. And damn well, even for fanfic, that would really hurt me. So, and Bria was busy comforting me and my real life friends and stuff. Even the characters in the show, all the characters in the show were defending me. So, Miss Michael, who from the ED unit at Berea, used to jokingly call Ricky Martin Mickey Fartin. So, therefore, Stephanie, aka Anna Gregory, decided to use that as a $210. $210. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. Damn!
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, I forgot what I was even saying. Okay, so Anna Gregory's character, Stephanie used that, Mickey Fartin joke that Miss Michael used to get me at Berea High as an insult, saying that, Mickey Fartin was known for living overrated or some shit like that. I was creative with his name in the insult version of his name, but not the insult version of basically the song, the title of the song. So the first thing that popped into my mind, even though it was not as creative as I was trying to make it to be, was living overrated or something like that. But why are we going on a tangent about my time with the La Vida Labrats era from 2015 through 2017? Oh yeah. Okay, so mutating topics again. So Giselle Vickers, her actress Jessalyn Wanlam, who moved from Los Angeles, basically the TV place, where most of my TV folks are. And because of their careers, she decided to think outside the box and move to Nashville, become a realtor. So I actually like that idea, because that means if my dad and I go to plan a trip to Nashville for NASCAR, that would mean we would actually get to meet up with another show person. I don't know how many show peeps we're probably going to meet before her, potentially. If we don't meet another one between now and whenever we go, that's probably going to be our third show person. But regardless, even if we meet another show person before her, I like one of our show peeps, she'll be the first one from La Vida Labrats that, little show get to meet in person. So that's what I'm hoping for. So Dad, if you're watching this, please make that happen. Jessalyn Wanlam, if you're watching this, hopefully my dad can successfully make it happen. So that way, we can... Giselle Vickers and Bumpkin, aka me, can finally meet, just like in the fanfic world of Live in La Vida Labrat. I think we're going to cut this off for today. A little bit of an alternate ending than usual, because I want to blast some music over here before to celebrate us going back to the finals in 12 years. So I know this video was kind of a flop, and I'm sorry about that. I am just a day behind on the uploads and literally my schedule and stuff because of the craziness from last night with the Spurs. So that'll do it for the season 6 premiere of Fun in the Sun. So we're looking to avenge from what was a boring year last year to hopefully make it somewhat a little more exciting this year. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night. I will see you all for the next video, which will be, let's say, a Spurs Roundup video. Yeah, we'll do a Spurs Roundup episode, you know, addressing how we managed to make it through like John Andretti games 4 through 7. Yeah, I think we did a game 3 video, singular like Robbie Gordon game 3 video, and that's it. Well, just games 4 through 7 and how we made it through like John Andretti, and basically do a finals preview for, you know, day after Kyle Petty's birthday, June 3rd. So I'll see you all for that video when that comes out after this one. By the time you're seeing this, the spring is in the air. Season 5 finale will already be up because, like I said, I'm a day behind, so I need to get back on pace. So once that's up, we'll upload this and schedule it for tomorrow upload, and then we'll go from there. So 'tis the season. Season 6 of summer production has officially kicked it into gear. And as always, go Spurs go. See you later, everyone.